Welcome to the Movie Planet. I'm your host, Ethan Downing. These are my top 10 movie sequels that I would love to see get made. I'm excluding films that already have a sequel, prequel, or remake released, in development, or in the works. I kept my list of films in the 2000s or newer because any film older than that would be a legacy sequel and a de facto remake, and Hollywood has plenty of remakes. There was time in Hollywood where a sequel taking place 20 plus years later was unusual, like The Hustler and The Color of Money. But now it's relatively common. When I choose these films, I tried to pick films that left it open to a sequel or lend themselves to a continuation based on where the story left off. As much as I would love to see a La La Land sequel, a sequel to that film would be very forced and out of place, and could even hurt the legacy of the first film. I tried not to do that with this list. I also picked films that were successful enough to warrant a new film. Number 1, Get Smart. This is my favorite Steve Carell movie. It's a laugh-out-loud comedy about spies traveling the world to stop a terrorist plot against the president. Carell plays a slightly more capable and a slightly more socially aware version of Michael Scott, but equally as funny. This movie has The Rock, back when he had hair, and back when he wasn't always the leading man. The late and great Alan Arkin, who played the chief of the government spy organization Control. It also has Anne Hathaway, who plays Agent 23, the love interest. The film is loosely based on the 1965 series of the same name. There have been multiple attempts to get this spy comedy thriller a sequel, but none of them have panned out. In December of 2013, Peter Siegel, who directed Get Smart, said that Get Smart 2 was close to being made. They even had a funny script ready that Steve Carell wrote that included Tina Fey. It probably got caught up in development and just fell by the wayside. Siegel has since come out and saying that too much time has passed for a sequel to be made. But I think he's wrong, and that fans would flock to the theaters to bring together the now star-studded cast one more time. My version of a Get Smart sequel would be where Steve Carell takes over Alan Arkin's position and becomes the new head of Control. With that, he has to get used to not being an agent out in the field until he is reluctantly called back into duty. I think it would make for a really fun, exciting movie. Number 2, The Bounty Hunter. This movie is a quintessential romantic comedy with some action thrown in there too. Gerard Butler plays a down-and-out ex-cop turned bounty hunter who jumps at the opportunity to bring in his ex-wife, played by Jennifer Aniston, to jail for skipping bail. While on pursuit, this movie turns into an action-packed rom-com fueled fever dream of fun. It also features a 1975 mint blue Oldsmobile Delta 88 convertible, which I loved. I used to drive a Delta 88 and I think they're great. Jason Sudeikis and Jeff Garlin also had hilarious guest appearances in this film. I think a sequel where Aniston and Butler are remarried and continue to chase down leads as a married couple, bounty hunter and investigative reporter duo would make for a really fun movie. Number 3, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. If you're a video game fan, then you'll love this movie. The plot unfolds similar to a video game, and there are a lot of references to gaming in the film. Scott Pilgrim is and forever will be Michael Cera's legacy.
I'm Michael Cera, and I'm pleased to announce that this is my cream. CeraVe. Oh, you didn't know?
Generosity.
The truth has been hiding in plain sight. I am CeraVe.
No, not that Michael Cera. This Michael Cera.
start with Launchpad McQuack.
That's not the actual title of the song.
Lemonade stasis, mama serpentine. I got a breathalyzer, and my body's clean.
The film is set in Toronto, Canada, where we are introduced to Scott Pilgrim, who plays bass in the band Sex Bomb. He is 23 and is dating a 17-year-old high schooler named Knives Chow. Fun fact, Ellen Wong, who played Knives, was actually 3 years older than Sarah. Pilgrim goes to a party and meets Ramona Flowers and falls in love. Then he must fight Ramona's 7 evil exes to be with her. I could go on and on about how great this movie is. I would like to mention that Kieran Culkin as Pilgrim's gay roommate was what put this movie over the top for me. Scott Pilgrim came back in a new anime series called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off in 2023 with 1 season. Many fans call it an anti-sequel, saying that the show took the characters and the story in a different direction, instead of continuing the great love story from 2010. Even though the show didn't get a 2nd season, the fact that a show was made 13 years later shows that there is still a lot of public interest in the film continuing. Number 4, Valentine's Day. Many of you might think when you see the trailer for this movie that it's just another generic Hollywood money grab looking to capitalize on the holiday with a star-studded cast bringing everyone to the theaters, while the cost of the cast took up most of the film's budget. An over-promising trailer with an underwhelming story. That may be the case for some other films, but not this one. This film delivers in a major way. I also can't think of a film that showcases LA as great as Valentine's Day does. The swirling plot lines flowed together so nicely with an upbeat soundtrack and showed the very wide range of the human experience and how we all experience love. The high school romances, first chance encounters, an old married couple, Julia Roberts returning home to see a loved one after being away for a long time, a couple newly engaged, and a couple who started dating 2 weeks ago. It's a great feel-good movie with a lot of substance. In 2011, New Year's Eve was made by the same people with another star-studded cast. It's considered a spiritual sequel in that it takes place in the same world, but is not a direct continuation of the original story. New Year's Eve had only 4 actors from Valentine's Day come back, which were Ashton Kutcher, Jessica Biel, Hector Elizondo, and Larry Miller. But they all played different characters. I think the best way to do Valentine's Day 2 would be to keep it in LA and redo it with a whole new cast. Number 5, In Time. In Time does the sci-fi apocalypse film so well. It's far and away Justin Timberlake's best film. There are so many cool concepts adapted in this movie. The whole movie had a dark neo-noir vibe to it. In this dystopian society, the rich, middle class, and poor are separated into different zones, and you have to pay more and more to enter each zone the higher you go, which generally keeps the poor people stuck in the slums. The currency is time. Rich people live forever, and poor people die young. On your 25th birthday, you stop aging and get a timer that pops up on your arm. At 25, you get 1 year to spend. In a world where coffee costs you 5 minutes, that's pretty good. Timberlake's character lives under crushing poverty until someone rich gives him a century, then kills himself because he's 105 years old and just wants to die. So Timberlake goes to a very rich zone and sees how the better half lives. Then he tries to bring down the whole system. One of the reasons a sequel was never attempted was because multiple science fiction writers sued them for plagiarism, and one author even tried to stop the release of the film. None of the lawsuits were ever awarded any money for their claims. I think a lot can be done with the idea that time is the currency. It's a premise that can be used for a wealth of ideas. Number 6. Limitless. The concept that people only use 10% of their brain hasn't been explored in film enough, in my opinion. That is what we have in Limitless. Bradley Cooper plays a struggling writer in New York City who is failing in every aspect of his life. So much so that his girlfriend breaks up with him because he's a loser. Cooper's character, Edward Mora, runs into his ex-brother-in-law, who gives him a pill out of pity. This pill, NZT-48, allows him to access his entire brain and think incredibly clearly. He writes the entire book he's supposed to submit to his publisher in one sitting. He starts accomplishing great things, and everything is going well until some dangerous people want the drug too. There are some incredible visuals in this film, including a sequence I can only describe as an infinite zoom. A sequel show was made of the same name in 2015. Cooper reprised his role several times in the show. Sadly, it only lasted for 22 episodes. A movie was made of the same concept called Lucy in 2014 with Scarlett Johansson. I didn't like Lucy as much because after Johansson takes a drug, she gets superhuman abilities, like telekinesis and the ability to manipulate time and matter. Lucy feels like a superhero movie, whereas Limitless plays so much better as a serious thriller. I think they should retcon the show and continue the story where the movie left off, with Edward Mora running for mayor of New York. Now, in the sequel, he is a US Senator, and he uses his special mental abilities to uncover fraud and corruption. He then uncovers a conspiracy that leads all the way up to the president. Number 7. The Watch. I think this ensemble of comedic actors is a comedy dream team. Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Jonah Hill, and Richard Ayoade. Specifically, the dynamic of Vince Vaughn and Jonah Hill is so hilarious. Ben Stiller plays Evan, the general manager of a Costco in Glenview, Ohio. Everything is going great in the little town when Evan's overnight security guard gets killed by what the police think is a wild animal or a murderer. So in response, Evan starts a neighborhood watch. Then, while on watch, they discover something extraterrestrial. Will Forte plays the inept police officer with his police sidekick, Chucho. A lot of critics didn't like the movie, and it didn't do well in theaters, but it is a comedic gem. This sci-fi comedy fell by the wayside much like Land of the Lost did in 2009. I'm probably going to do a review of this film because I love it so much. I think a fun and interesting sequel idea would be if the owners of the new Costco use it as a front for illegal activities, like an underground prostitution ring or drug storage. And Evan, as the general manager and head of the neighborhood watch, busts the operation wide open. Number 8. World War Z. World War Z is my favorite out of all the movies and shows that have ever been made about zombies. In my opinion, it's the best zombie IP ever. The zombies are not slow daywalkers that, once bitten, it takes 24 hours to turn. like they are in The Walking Dead or Dawn of the Dead. These zombies run incredibly fast, and once you get bitten, you turn in 12 seconds. An infection sweeps through New York like a wildfire. Brad Pitt and his family barely escape with their lives. Now, Brad Pitt, as a former UN investigator, must hunt down the origin of the deadly disease and find out how to stop it. If I had to choose one word to describe this movie, it would be adrenaline. A sequel was attempted several times, but Paramount canceled the project during pre production because they were worried about the lack of momentum, causing a decrease in public interest. In my version of the sequel, I would make it so that a whole new class of super mutant zombies evolved from eating other zombies, and Brad Pitt is given a special assignment to go deep into zombie country to rescue a high-ranking politician and his family. Number 9, Game Over Man. This movie was made by the guys from Workaholics, Adam Devine, Anders Holm, and Blake Anderson. Those guys know comedy so well. This movie is a full-on laugh riot from start to finish. They framed it as a die-hard spoof, and this spoof delivered. 3 hotel workers are aspiring entrepreneurs who try to save the day when a rooftop party at a hotel is held hostage. It has a very Paul Blart feel to it. Out of all the movies on this list, I think that this movie has the highest chance of getting made. Hollywood is not done with these guys. Hopefully, they don't stick to TV and give film a chance. My vision for a sequel would be where the guys get caught up in a heist and they're in a moral dilemma of whether or not to steal because they find out their money is going to a children's charity. While they're getting away, another group of robbers try to steal it. Now the guys must stop them while trying to get away themselves. Number 10, The Lovebirds. I love Kumail Nanjiani, and he shines like no other in this film. His appearances on Portlandia are hilarious. He steals the show in everything he's in. He's an avid movie lover, and I think he could be Hollywood's next big star. In this movie, a couple's relationship has fizzled and they're about to break up when they accidentally witness a murder. And out of fear of being falsely accused, they are now on a trail of lead after lead to solve the case, all in one crazy night to boot. I love movies where a majority of the film takes place in a 24-hour period. Movies like The Warriors and I Love You, Beth Cooper. My version of a sequel would be where the guy caught doing the murder gets out of prison early and takes revenge on the couple. They spend one crazy night avoiding him on the eve of their wedding. As much as I love sequels, prequels, and remakes, there's nothing I like more than a great original film. Old Hollywood had producers who were willing to shell out tens of millions of dollars for some writer's script no one would ever read. Nowadays, production companies rarely want to take that kind of a gamble. But as long as there's movie lovers, there will be great movies. Let me know in the comments if you think there are some movies more deserving of a sequel and what the plot would be. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you could like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.